Conscious collaboration brings together entrepreneurs, changemakers, and thought leaders. We aim to highlight the people that embody the idea of aligned mind, body, and business. Each week, we share, discuss, and learn from the various experiences and ideas of our guest experts. Through our discovery, we find a path to an aligned mind, body, and business.
Hey guys, it's me, Lisa.
And I'm Emily, and Lisa forgot her name, but together we are the Conscious Collaboration Podcast. Hi.
It's been so long though that we're basically interchangeable.
Yes.
On Tuesdays.
I don't think y'all would mind if we said our name. Would you even notice? Would you, if we said our names opposite? Would you even notice? We'll have to.
No, I almost even sang a song like how you would normally sing it. Or threw in like a yeehaw.
Yeehaw! I don't know. It just seems like we gotta fill that space with something. But
yeah,
that's today's goofiness. So what's up?
There's more to come. There's more goofiness to come.
Oh, I betcha.
Did you know this is episode 167 that we're recording?
Is there a significance to that number?
I mean, no, I don't know. I don't know if there is.
Okay.
Sequentially, sevens, a pair of sevens. I don't know. I don't know if there's a significance, but I can't believe there's that many episodes.
I know. We talk a lot.
Yeah, we do talk a lot.
We're still a few hours away from expertise, though, if we're looking at 10,000. So let's keep on talking.
Keep on trucking. That's what we do.
Yeah.
How's your week been?
Oh, interesting. I was sharing with Lisa my little melodrama of spilling a pretty large size green tea on this computer that we were recording on. So it's I've had to rig up a few things to get it working today, but so far so good. That was the biggest drama of the week, though, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, that is a pretty big drama to have when you don't have all your tech.
Computer to have some antioxidants.
Yes.
It needed that late afternoon pick me up.
Yeah, I know what you mean, though. You have to be careful with those sticky keys now, because I had that issue with my last computer, and apparently you're supposed to clean your computer. I found out I don't do that. So that's probably not very feng shui of me. But anyway, so I had some sticky keys, or maybe like I carried it in my bag wrong. And if you don't pay attention when you're writing your emails, you could just send a bunch of gibberish, which is what I was doing.
Yes. Well, if I tried to write an email or anything for that matter with this attached keyboard, it would just not happen. I wouldn't be able to send it. The keyboard itself is not functioning properly whenever I push. It doesn't feel sticky necessarily, but whenever I push a key, it hits a bunch of letters.
Yeah.
So currently I've got an external keyboard that's doing the trick, and everything else.
You got to do what you got to do. You're like
your fingers seems to be, we're making it for now until
don't touch anything while we're recording
another session. But I'm going to go ahead and appreciate the hardiness of this current computer as I figure out
your day
sustainable permanent solution for that.
Yeah.
So at least all is not lost in terms of
you're making it work. You're moving forward.
Yeah, moving forward as we do, and that is a little bit of a segue or a transition into today's topic. I just heard a little quote yesterday that sparked something in me. So that was that being an entrepreneur is basically like jumping out of a plane and building the parachute on the way down. So, just kind of taking action first in a lot of ways and then figuring it out as you go, making pivots
Mhm.
when necessary, and obviously trying to remain calm in a uh, pretty intense type of situation. So, yeah, I would like to think of this as, I'm just
That's an example of
building the
that. Yeah.
parachute. I'm just building the parachute. Here we
Make it
go.
work.
That really, yeah, I mean, that really resonated with me, and I'm sure that you feel somewhat the same. But yeah, after almost 7 years of doing this, I mean, I've definitely just been building a parachute, free falling.
Mhm. Yeah, well, I mean, it's really pretty much across the board, and I know that our podcast, it attracts people that are usually entrepreneurs, or people that have that mindset. And I think we're just a different breed. Um,
Yeah, and
there's
I
a lot
definitely
of
think it could
studies
be
around it.
applied outside of entrepreneurship, and even
Yeah.
like if you develop this skill in entrepreneurship, which I think is totally necessary, then what a even better way to apply it to other situations in life. I mean, it
Mhm.
really just speaks to adaptability, resourcefulness, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and I think like that's the thing too is that entrepreneur, change maker, and thought leader. That doesn't mean that necessarily like you may still be employed at a larger corporation, but you're also you have a different type of awareness. So you're constantly assessing the situation. I wish that I had a little bit more entrepreneur experience when I was in my corporate role, because I think I would have not relied as much on leadership to look out for me. I would have, and I think that's one thing that we have as entrepreneurs is that autonomy and the ability to give ourselves our own title and create our own systems. And we're responsible for ourselves, good or bad, whatever that looks like. But that ability to rely on yourself to get through any situation.
Mm.
I think going back into corporate would look a lot different for me. I do know a lot of people in the corporate world, close friends even, that they're just, they have that spirit. And
Sure.
it's like a certain, it's elevated, um, you know, wisdom. And I think that they have that ability to still chart their own course and not rely on someone recognizing them for their skills, their unique skills, abilities, and talents in any way. But yeah, I mean, so last week, what was it? Last Thursday? Yeah, last Thursday. Um, I was invited by Mary Ann and the Pinellas Technical Institute. So if you remember, I'm sorry, I can't remember her student's name that came on.
John,
John, yes. I just always
John the
think
Gemini.
John the Gemini. Yeah, Dead Poet Society is what I always think about.
Mm.
With that experience and working with that group of students, and they were creating their own podcast. And I just thought it was so inspiring and so brave of them. And admittedly, most of them identified as being introvert and nervous to talk to people. And being an entrepreneur requires you to put yourself out there.
Hmm.
And you have to have those conversations. You have to be a good listener. And anyway, so they invited me to the campus last Thursday with several other business owners and some resource business owners like SCORE. By the way, I don't want to get very political right now, but have you ever had a SCORE mentor before?
No.
Okay, SCORE, amazing resource. I relied on them so much at the beginning of my
Very
career.
bells.
Yeah. they're great. So SCORE provided free mentorship with business retired people from business. They could be, they have, big time board of directors, owning large to small businesses. But in their time, they want to support entrepreneurs, which was just amazing. I met with several of them, some I still remain close friends with. And actually, the person that showed up on the panel, I remembered him and he remembered me from during COVID. During COVID, they gifted me QuickBooks. So it was really amazing. And so it was a government funded program. Recently, they just killed the funding. So for SCORE. So SCORE, which is really great, at least the local chapter, I'm sure they have national meetings. But the SCORE mentors, a lot of them are living on retirement. They're very blessed. They have a lot of financial means. They're putting their own money into SCORE to keep it alive because they believe in it so much. And it really does reward them because they get so much back in return from staying connected with entrepreneurs is really what fuels them. And they're really passionate about it. So anyway, there was a SCORE mentor on the panel, entrepreneurs in tech, restaurateurs, construction firms, design build firms, hair design, different walks of life. There was a woman that had her own shop and she coutured, designed, and it was furniture and clothing and accessories. Anyway, so many themes that we've talked about in this podcast presented in the panel discussion. Talked about pivoting, certainly during big events such as the pandemic or here locally with the hurricanes, on a national scale with trade being impacted or not being able to leave the port and goods being stuck in different places. So you have to pivot. So pivot was a big theme. And also
algorithms changing on social media.
Yes. Algorithms, being courageous. And a lot of the backstories of entrepreneurs were of people who grew up in less than desirable conditions. And, not everybody, but, a pretty decent percentage.
I mean, I think that can be a really powerful catalyst for developing, the entrepreneurial skills and spirit, just out of necessity.
Yeah, like the grit, the determination, and the passion. And just to hear, you and I with our businesses, I'm a little over, 6.5 years in, you're 7 years in. There were people that had businesses for over 40 years or 25 years, and the different iterations of what they experienced. And, to hear, and I loved the panel. I loved how honest they were in talking with all of these students who were just like idealizing entrepreneurship. And they were honest. They were like, we love it. We'll never go back to corporate. We'll never work for anyone else, but know that there's many nights when you're up late at night and you don't know what to do and you don't know how you're going to pay your employees and you don't know how you're going to keep your family intact. But you do. So it just was like, and I was really impressed and proud, especially to hear that coming from the men on the panel and admitting, because I think, it's moving away from the patriarchy of like, strong, fighting through, playing it cool, being the strongest, because admitting that there were times of weakness was just, I think, really brave of them to do. And,
I mean, I think those can both exist at the same time, and I don't know. I don't know that I'd call adverse conditions or experiences weakness per se, even if you're, emotional in some
Yeah.
way during that time. I think that is, the opportunity to use that strength. Now, is it, I mean, and I don't think that, because anybody who's succeeded and done, great things, what you'll find in almost every case is a whole bunch of failures
Hmm.
first. And
Yeah.
so, but I don't think that moving through those failures in whatever way it looks like equates to weakness, right?
Right.
Um,
Yeah. A lot of us expressed that in the panel when the question was asked, like, what was your biggest failure? And
yeah.
we were all like, I choose not to frame it as a failure. It was a course correction or a series of decisions. And I think that was resonant across the board on the panel. And it was coming from the moderators were student participants. Um, and so, that just like that mindset, as we talk about, like the mindset of an entrepreneur, ran across the panel to keep everybody in or plugged into their businesses. So, if they had an entity that didn't survive, or they converted it into something else, or they had to sell a business, the way that it was framed was, I had to make a decision. It came from a place of like courage and empowerment versus like, I failed.
hmm Right.
So,
Well, failure as an ending versus failure as
yes.
a,
Yeah.
a stepping stone to the next idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was really like a great opportunity. And I hope that I was so excited to talk to a lot of the students. They have a new interior design program there. So I met the instructor and some of the
Oh.
students, and they were like really jazzed about the concepts of feng shui, and having a business that looks through the lens of feng shui and biophilic design. And that's something they don't offer in the program, but they did invite me to come shadow when school starts again in August, which I'm really excited to do. And I think that's, a great, I, I know entrepreneurship is a focus for a lot of colleges and universities. That's a program now. University of Florida has one. I know I get a lot of material from them too. And I don't remember that being a thing when I was in university. I don't think we had entrepreneurship as we had, business marketing and that type of thing.
Mm.
Um, but there is a focus around entrepreneurship, and it starts really early now. Like a lot of the students that we talked to were still teenagers, and they had already started their first businesses.
Mhm.
So, they're ahead of the game. I think that's really exciting. It'll change the landscape. Um, but, I um, I hope that messages like the one that you heard, that quote of being able to put together your parachute on the way down. I hope that that's, um, you know, we've always said if it were easy, everybody would do it. But now it seems like it's like a trend, and I think it's it's not an easy trend.
Well, I think you can definitely attribute a lot of that to social media, which of course has its pros and cons in the context of entrepreneurship. And I think that obviously there's a ton of the romanticizing of it, and taking pictures next to like other people's Lamborghinis
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
showing of course, I mean, and everybody does this to some degree, but showing the highlight reel
Mm-hmm.
versus the reality, or portraying a reality that in many cases is just not reality. um,
Yeah.
and sort of glamorizing it in that way. But at the same time, among all of that, there's also some really great and much more realistic, um, information about there regarding entrepreneurship on social media. It's just kind of like, that discernment, just like looking through fitness information or health information or anything like that. You want to um, look at what's in front of you and evaluate the realities of things, because the reality is that although there may be a select few exceptions who are really just like overnight success, that is by far the
Mm-hmm.
exception and not the way for most people. The way for most people, and I don't view this as a bad thing at all, because just like um part of the way to becoming fit and healthy is actually doing the workouts, like,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of experiencing the struggle on some level, and building your resiliency in the weeds of things. I think entrepreneurship works the same way, and y- you know I wouldn't trade for the world
Mm-hmm.
the hardships of it that I've already experienced to get up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
um because it's what creates wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
and the good experiences and the longevity in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were questions around sustainability, because there is such a seasonality to entrepreneurship. Systems change, processes change, climate changes, the competitive environment changes, your resources changes. So, like you said on social media, when you're hearing solopreneurs touting, $100,000 a month, sure, it may be a great month. Is that sustainable?
Most of the time, if I've ever kind of dug into that a little bit, like, yeah, in a lot of ways they experience that maybe once.
Right. Right.
And the sustainability of repeating that, especially as a one person operation, is
Hmm.
is pretty damn unlikely.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and a lot of that money goes back to taxes and paying out the subscriptions and the programs that you need to use to draw in, or the marketing that you have to sink the money into if you're playing that game. But it does very much feel like Las Vegas in some of the realms. Like we were talking about getting into the angel investors and that type of business. It's, feels very like puppeteering sometimes. And I know there's a right way to do it. And I know a lot of restaurateurs rely on that type of seeding and financial backing. You need it with a big environment and a lot. You can't really run a large scale restaurant with one person.
Mhm.
So I know they rely a lot on that, but boy, is it a huge risk. And it's just like a different type of pressure that you feel putting your house in the line, your car in the line, um, for your business.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So know
It's
what
all
you're
that.
getting into, and know that, while yes, the work can reap some great results
Yeah.
years and years down the road, like, know that it's not kittens and rainbows and overnight
It's
success
not. Yeah.
in
You
the
have to pay
vast
back.
majority of
Yeah.
cases, and that's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. Like,
Hmm.
it's not a bad thing. And I think that there's something to be said as well for, even if you're splitting both corporate and entrepreneurship, or kind of going between worlds. I think there's a lot to be said for having the entrepreneurial experience, and knowing that level of uncertainty,
Mhm.
because I think as many people are starting to realize, even within the corporate world, that idea of certainty and stability is actually not really present there either.
Hell no.
So
Everybody knows
having that,
that.
you know, well, I mean, I wouldn't say that everybody does really understand that on a visceral level, or
Oh my
or
gosh.
did, because in a lot of cases, the perceived stability is the reason why people would stay in
Yeah.
a job that they maybe really didn't feel great in,
Mhm.
just because of that perceived stability
Yeah.
or certainty. So I just say that to say that I think having that entrepreneurial experience, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and everything in between, could be really helpful in
Mhm.
navigating, a corporate
So, like,
career as well.
people seem to have been picking up on this. In 2021, it was, if you remember that trend that hit the headlines, and I heard about it a lot on LinkedIn. We saw it a lot within the intrinsic school of feng shui during that time period. We had a boost of enrollment. It was called the Great Resignation. So people were at that time like, okay, they were jumping ship. Soon after that, though, came just mass layoffs across the board, at least here in the US. I don't know what it looks like for everybody else. Unexpected layoffs on a large scale. And that's where I feel everybody is very sensitive in the corporate world about, am I being replaced? Is this tool going to replace me?
Mhm.
People are shifting their roles to being prompt generators, and now prompt generators are something that you learn in school. So it's, things are shifting and changing, and I think you're exactly right. Having that, the abilities, or having that experience as an entrepreneur, or having that mindset just naturally, because a lot of people do have that naturally, um, are going to be the people that can evolve with how things are evolving. So it's not going to take them out as much. But yeah, it's interesting, and I wonder. I would love to have someone on from the corporate world. What are their perceptions of entrepreneurs, and what does that look like for them? Is that desirable to have entrepreneurs, or not desirable? Is that a red flag because someone is resourceful in that way, or is it a good thing? I don't know.
No, I mean, I would think that it's great. I mean, an inherent ability to, or preparation already to expect the unexpected, to make quick pivots, to be
Yeah.
adaptable, to be resilient.
But are you less able to be conditioned in corporate culture if you're an entrepreneur? Are you, I hear a lot about people having multiple
Sure.
jobs at one time.
Sure.
There's,
Well, but it also, uh, um, I think, builds your. So we would call this, outside of the business universe, we would call this self-worth, but I think it's the same sort of thing can be applied, and it enhances your understanding of your own self-worth. So yeah, maybe you are less prone to being conditioned or groomed, or what have you, but then that can help you be in the position of leverage, and only entertain jobs that are
Yeah.
actually going to show you your value or speak to your value. And I think that the more people who are able to operate that way, the better the culture shift across the
Yeah.
corporate world will be. If the demand shifts for the type of treatment that people receive, then eventually, corporations are going to have to shift as well if they want.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I wonder if that's. I'd love to have a human resources person come on. Maybe I'll seek out on LinkedIn, see who would like to come, but
I got
and
one.
discuss this. Yeah, I
I'll show you.
think. Yeah, I think that'd be good because I think that a lot of corporations might be resistance to would not like to have people that are um, maybe going to leave if conditions are not desirable or if someone's not being used for their skill sets and they get bored, they're going to leave. Or I've seen this a lot in the tech industry where people have, there's this one guy in startups that I saw on LinkedIn that had 11 different startup positions at different companies, and they found out they all had the same person on staff, and he was the best person on staff. And they were like, "Wait, you have someone by this same unusual name? We have him too, and he's like the best." Well, he was able to hold down 11 different high value positions in startups
Mm-hmm.
and do it
Yeah,
well.
I mean, look, it's not like the more people who start to operate under, that, and I'm not saying everybody should go get 11 jobs, but the more people who operate under those premises and not the premise of, basically I mean, I don't want to use that word, but I am bound to this corporation because I'm worried about losing my benefits or whatever, you know what I mean, for
Mhm.
one reason or another. And so the more people who are moving away from that, it's not like these companies will just have this giant pool of qualified individuals to choose from,
Yeah.
who won't toe the line. So, or who will toe the line. So I think it's a good thing. And I think Gen Z kind of already started that with the quiet quitting and
Mhm.
um, maybe it dips a little into like an unfavorable work ethic in some cases. But if the work ethic, you know, if the work ethic is there and it just coincides with a really high sense of self worth.
Mhm.
I think that's a great thing. I think that's a great thing. And I think ultimately it is a great thing for corporations,
I think
even
it
if
is a
it
great
means that
thing.
they have to shift from, okay,
Right.
let's, groom a bunch of people to toe the line to, okay, now we're operating under a little different premise here.
I think it is a great thing, but I think it's probably going to be I mean, it is right now. It'll be a very visceral shakeup. I know corporations, they are doing more training on mindset and emotional intelligence. And so they recognize that softening of humans and the importance of it is less than hard sales. It's less than seeing people as numbers and very transactional. They know that, they recognize that need and that's what people are looking for in culture. But to have, to operate as a corporation on a large scale with workers who are working with you basically as if you look at them as like 1099 contractors or something versus on the payroll, I think it's that's kind of how I'm seeing it all shift because short term contracts versus long term contracts and like off the benefits. But because I think that like you said, Gen Z will quiet quit or leave when they feel offended or if it's not satisfying to their lifestyle, if they can't take their calls from the pool.
Mhm.
Boomers and Gen Xers just aren't used to that. I'm cool with it. Like, but I know that's against culture. That's against corporate culture because they want everybody to have a shared mission and values for the greater corporation, not for the individual. And the way that it's shifting is like, no, I'm going to see myself as an individual
Yeah.
because you're not ultimately looking out for me in the end. So, like you're right, and I'm all for it. Like I think there needs to be a change, but
I think both can exist in harmony too.
mhm.
You
Yeah,
know, I do. I know they can.
yeah,
I know they can. It's not the majority at this point because there's a lot of, especially companies who have been around for a really, really long time. Obviously, there's a lot of evolution still to be
mhm.
had, but just, with the way people are, I mean, as time passes and people age and
Yeah,
you've got the younger generations who are, the ones coming in. So I think it's going to be a forced shift
yeah, yeah,
at some point
yeah,
to a more forward thinking way of operating.
yeah. Um, I was thinking when you were talking about the layoffs happening at Microsoft, for example, they're on like round 8 of layoffs, like mass ones. And here locally with HSN and the layoffs there, and it's everybody knows the layoffs are brewing. I mean, they have to publicly report them when they're such a large scale. And just I'm well connected with a lot of people from Microsoft and HSN on LinkedIn, and just to they were existing in a really unhealthy mindset of like, we're existing in Hunger Games. Like, we don't know if we're going to show up to work and still have a job. But yet, like, there was something about them that attached them to the corporate culture that they and the people there that they just prayed they weren't one on the list that was getting laid off.
That
But
would be
meanwhile,
so
it's like,
stressful.
so stressful. And I'm telling you, Emily, like, hang out a little bit on LinkedIn and like just scroll through some of my connections and read their posts. A lot of them, yes, are leaving to become entrepreneurs, and some very few of them maintained and stayed Microsoft or HSN. Um, you know, uh, that's it's not the end of the story though, because um, corporations are going to be leaner and leaner and leaner, and I think it'll look like very much like board of directors and contracted employees versus that. Like, remember back in the day, it was like you're part of the family, and
I mean, some places have found ways to still
yeah,
to still be like that. Like I said, I think they can both coexist. Um, and sometimes it's just a matter of as the employee slash entrepreneur or wherever you
mhm.
lie in between on that spectrum. I mean, there's lots of opportunities now to really get creative with how that looks.
Yeah.
It
I
doesn't
mean, I think that's the
have to
only.
look like the cookie cutter, what we set up
Mhm.
originally. You go to college, you get this degree, you go to this career field, you do the things, you move up in the ranks, you retire. You know what I mean? Like that
That's not a thing.
that doesn't have to be. I mean, it can be a thing. It still can be a
Mhm.
thing, and I think there's some industries where that'll remain pretty solid, but it at the same time it has to evolve.
Mhm.
It is evolving, it has to evolve, and who's to say as the person who's trying to make a living that
Yeah.
you have to make it look any certain type of way. If you make it look a different way, I mean, and there's other factors that play in too. With the whole, advent of careers that were never previously remotely
Yeah.
administered now being a
Yeah.
thing. I mean, the opportunities are they're out there.
Yeah. I mean,
And
I think
that's
it
where
comes
that
back to,
entrepreneurial spirit comes back in, and it's like, okay, how can I take these
yeah.
circumstances and turn it into what I need
Yeah. The ability to be resourceful and to reframe opportunities and just to have an awareness, like never put your full trust into anybody that's promising you anything, because ultimately you're responsible. I think the other quote that I like that for entrepreneurs and those with that mindset is, there is like, no one can save you but yourself. There's no knight on a horse. You have to rely on yourself and take that accountability for yourself to change the course and make those decisions. But so there's a lot of that. There's a lot of this in this is showing up a lot in my life. So it's interesting. It showed up in yours too. Just revisiting what that looks like for entrepreneurship, and it circles back even to feng shui with period 9 and the age. Just the age of Aquarius as well, too. The breaking down of systems and rebuilding and so on and so forth. So
100%.
Keeping our awareness, I think it's good to keep a topic on it.
Keep awareness. And I think the biggest takeaway would be keep your mind completely open, because it is almost guaranteed that whatever the path is, it looks completely different than how you imagined.
Yeah. Well, we can't fit it in a box. And I think that's what's so valuable about the collaboration aspect too, is being able to, what we can conceive in our own little minds is what we exist in today was never in my mind before.
And if you have the urgency of falling out of that airplane and needing to build your parachute, combined with that open mind, then you will come up with something.
Yeah. Or maybe you'll bounce. Some people hit the ground and they're fine.
Yeah. Well, you probably will at some point. But don't panic.
Yeah. We build our parachutes on the way down and look good doing it. Well, good. Well, that being said, I'm glad that your computer held up. And I think this week, Thursday, is officially Mercury in retrograde.
Okay. Well, tech glitches came early. I guess I can't really call that a tech glitch. That was a human error.
That was a human glitch, and now you have tech glitches. So that happens.
It happened.
Yes. Well, I will take this inside of the Conscious Collaboration Collective, our closed and private Facebook group, and I am going to show up there more this week, and so I'll see you inside there, and I'm going to send you a bunch of reels. That's what I'm going to do. Cool.
Love that.
All right.
Love that.
Talk to you in 5.
Talk to you in 5. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank y'all so much for listening to our podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends so they can join our circle of collaboration on this journey. You can find us on Instagram at Conscious Collaboration Podcast, on Spotify, iTunes, and Audible, to name a few. Please join us next time for another deep dive into how you can live life in more alignment, mind, body, and business. Send us your questions and comments in our DMs or email us at consciouscollaborationpodcast@gmail.com. See you in 5 minutes.